Ken Trahan along with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. It was Hall of Fame weekend in Natchitoches this past weekend. 11 guys inducted. Lenny was there, and of course, a lot of guys of local interest, and ladies, and Janice Joseph Richard as well. So, again, Lenny, a great festivity. I know one you enjoy going to every year.
It is really a terrific event, and if you've not had a chance to get to Natchitoches to go into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum or be there for induction weekend, you owe it to yourself to do it. I mean, it is truly the best honor you can get in this state, and it's a terrific weekend. The city of Natchitoches embraces, and it is a beautiful city. All things about it are really outstanding, and yes, congratulations to the 11 people. Of course, the most notable of local interest, former Tulane coach Rick Jones. Well deserved. A lot of baseball feel to it this year. From the prep side, Jim Hightower, the coach at St. Thomas More, the second winningest coach behind J.T. Curtis in Louisiana high school history. Well deserved as well. All around, just a great weekend.
It was indeed. Of course, on Friday afternoon, we got a chance to meet the Pelicans draft picks, and the byword that came out of it over and over again was character. We kept hearing it continuously from Malvin Gentry as well as Dell Demps, and the young men really kind of reflected that. Buddy Hield and Check Diallo. And these are guys that really are completely different in the sense that Hield's a finished product and he will be expected to start and contribute mightily immediately. Diallo more of a project, a down-the-road guy, but a guy that figures to make this roster with his athleticism.
Yeah, you're right. Two totally different approaches. And look, with Hield, I guess the interesting dynamic that's going to continue to get discussed is, taking a guy who spent 4 years in college as opposed to someone who's younger and you've got a few more, years to be able to invest in within the league and things like that. I like the idea. What the last time that I can remember taking a 4-year guy in the first round who happened to be College Player of the Year was David West, and that turned out pretty well. So if you can get another David West out of Buddy Hield, you'll have done very well for yourself.
Sound like a story you need to write.
Could be.
All righty then. Well done. Where the Saints are concerned, I guess right now the only story would be the condition of the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, because right now that is a mess, and the PGA tournament has been canceled, that's unprecedented. That hasn't happened before. And where the Saints practice, it's lifted. I mean, it's elevated, and yet still there's significant damage and problems. The Saints expect things to be worked out by the time they're supposed to report in late July, but they're monitoring the situation.
Yeah, you've got to just keep an eye on it from a distance and see what's going on. Obviously, you've got a great fallback plan in being right here if you would choose to stay in New Orleans, although it would obviously adjust some things in terms of what you're doing with the schedule. But let's see. Our thoughts and prayers to the people in West Virginia. 23 people lost their lives. Let's focus on that aspect more so, than the sports aspect of things. It's certainly a hit to the community, and look, that's a very small community up there. While you have this resort, there's a lot of small businesses that depend on the Greenbrier Classic and Saints training camp and things like that, to be able to support their businesses throughout the summer. And they're really getting impacted as well by the loss of business plus the flooding.
The Manning Passing Academy concluding in Thibodaux another successful run. The real story out of there was Brandon Harris expressing himself in demonstrative fashion about who he is, what his team will be, what he expects to do this current year. And I know to some it sounds braggadocious for a guy that really hasn't accomplished anything, but I kind of liked it because he's been looked at as kind of a passive guy, and to see him step out like this and speak like this speaks volumes, no pun intended, about where he's at. He's bigger, stronger. Archie Manning was raving about him on our radio show, and listen, let's see if he can back it up, but I kind of liked it.
It's good. I think it's really good. Look, a lot of LSU's lack of success last year got pinned on his shoulders, fairly or not. And a lot of people will say, look, if LSU is going to have a great year in 2016, he's the one guy that has to step up. You've obviously got a running game with Leonard Fournette and company, but you have to be able to have some semblance of a passing game to keep people from putting 9 in a box and keeping you from running the ball with Fournette.
And finally, the Zephyrs, a loser at Memphis yesterday, and they continue to play those games. And, of course, still the fallout from the names. And, we've beat that up ad nauseum, and we haven't written anything on it. We've talked about it. bottom line is, look, everybody's entitled to an opinion, and it's a subjective and objective world in both fronts actually. And when you look at this, I think they'd have been better served to maybe continue to keep the name they had. At the same time, I completely understand what they're doing, but they've gotten a lot of criticism for the names that this firm came up with.
Well, the LHSA caught a lot of grief for the vote being none of the above earlier this month. If there was a none of the above button in this, I think a lot of people would hit it.
Would win in a landslide. Yes.
Right. So, but obviously, I don't think option 8 is there. You've got 7 other options. Which again, are any of them better than what you have right now? Maybe not, but you understand the business of how minor league baseball works, and rebranding and things. While New Orleans is a place that doesn't like change, but that's just part of the business of minor league baseball. You do this every once in a while.
You can still do the right thing. Stay tuned. Lenny, as always, thanks. Have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.